Welcome to the best podcast in baseball video edition. I'm Jeff Gordon of the Post-Dispatch, joined by our longtime baseball writer, Derrick Goold. And man, hey, this Nolan Arenado, he's showing the Astros. Ah, man, I guess you're probably wishing that deal had gone down.
Yeah, he goes and gets a couple doubles off of them and then hits his first home run since opening day. A late night hitting session or well, maybe more of a mid-evening hitting session. Let's call it that. Saturday at the ballpark after the Cardinals had played the Phillies. After, Christopher Sanchez, who was throwing 97 from the left side with sink, had really kind of, befuddled the Cardinals. He kept them on the ground. 4 of the 5 double plays that day were from him. So he had a great game, pitched very well. And after that, Arenado went into the hitting cage with some of his coaches and talked through some things, swung through some things, and emerged to have a single and a double on Sunday in that shutout. And then Monday against the team that tried to trade for him. And he said, you know what? I don't think so. I'd either like more time or I'd like to go somewhere else. You'll recall the timing of it was such that the Astros had just traded Kyle Tucker, one of the best players and soon to be one of the richest players in the game, to the Cubs, and then pivoted to try to trade to Arenado. And you talk about mixed messages there, Gordo. It's just, which one are you? Are you contending and keeping Tucker and fortifying with Arenado, or are you trading for Arenado to replace Tucker? So there's a lot going on there for both the Astros. The Cardinals thought they had a deal. Arenado used his no trade clause to say, no, I think I'd like to either pursue somewhere else or recognize that he might end up with the Cardinals. And here he is with the Cardinals all spring long. That deal with Boston didn't happen because Houston's cornerstone player, Alex Bregman, signed, of course, with the Red Sox. So Arenado's with the Cardinals, and he's off to a good start. Not the start that he wants, because he wants to go gangbusters and, carry the team every day. But he's off to a good start, and he's got his swing back here over the last few days. And the better he plays, Gordo, I think it'll be really interesting to watch, right? Okay. So the better he plays, how good does that make the Cardinals? And how more appealing does that make him for some of the teams that he would accept a trade to, versus how appealing does it make for the Cardinals to keep him and see what happens with this team?
Yeah, you look at this team, and now that Wilson Contreras is hitting, and you go up and down the lineup, and despite losing Mason Wynn, this team is really, it's impressive what they can do 1 through 9 right now. Pedro Pages hitting well in his filling in with Ivan Herrera out, doing well enough at the plate as a competitive hitter. So you beat 4 of the better pitchers in the National League in a stretch here where you get back to 500. Suddenly, this is the team that Ollie's been talking about, being relentless, being dynamic, exciting. Yeah, this is, you look at this team, you look at the Astros, like, well, they're pretty similar. Now, can the Cardinals keep this up? And we'll see. But man, that was quite the, we've seen quite the stride offensively.
Yeah, I mean, they started the season with 9 consecutive games with at least 10 hits, and they're the first National League team to do that. And while they had like some downturn and ran into, some cold weather there in Pittsburgh, they have been rather consistent with how they go about the art of not making outs. They lead the league in on-base percentage, which is something that Mark McGwire as a hitting coach would stress over and over and over again, is give me a lineup that leads the league in on-base percentage and I'll show you a good lineup. Well, the Cardinals lead the league in on-base percentage for the first time since McGwire was hitting coach, and this looks like a pretty good lineup. You mentioned that the catchers, the Cardinals have more RBIs from their catchers than any other team, and that includes Ivan Herrera, who's now on the injured list. The Cardinals are getting production from Jordan Walker. A real subtle part of this, and the kind of the depth of the lineup, is the performance of Jordan Walker. His plays in right field are getting a lot of attention, but so should the 100-mile lasers off his bat. He doubles. He looks confident. He's playing with a lot more verve, and that's not just true in right field. That is also true at the plate, and that can lengthen the lineup. We'll see where it goes. Wilson Contreras and his torpedo pad are a big part of this. Nolan Arenado and his pull side power are a big part of this. Brendan Donovan with the 10-game hitting streak, during which he's hitting .513, Gordo, and he leads the league in hits. He's a big part of this. Lars Nootbaar is not really cranking out the hits, so to speak, but he is finding a way on base as a leadoff hitter, and that's a big part of this. You get production from those 4 guys, and then you get complementary production from catchers and Walker. it becomes a deep and persistent lineup. It's not gonna send shutters through the Bronx. It's not gonna blast away at the wall like the Dodgers. But it's going to be a persistent lineup that does a lot of different things well and doesn't need to hit home runs to score runs.
That's Derrick Goold. I'm Jeff Gordon. A reminder that you can get lots of extra stuff on our digital edition of the Post-Dispatch here at stltoday.com. Lots of video, a lot of extra content. We do appreciate your support in local journalism. Until next time, for Derrick, I'm Jeff. See you later.
Thanks, Gordo.